I see several trustees on here, and we also have members of our foundation board on here, as well as our faculty and staff. And so at this time, I want to call on the chair of our board of trustees, Mr. Mac Sherrill, to deliver his welcome from the board of trustees.
Thank you, Bob. Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well, and it is a different time, but we're glad to be together, even if it is virtual. I'd like to bring you greetings from your board of trustees. I want to thank each of you for all you do for our students, your caring teamwork that makes RCC a great place to work. Our trustees thank you for the extra work you'll be doing during these difficult virus days. And I know our students and each of you will miss some of the classroom personal contact. And I hope and pray that this virus will soon be going away. But let me say best wishes for a great year. And it's nice to have a meeting that we don't have to have a tie on. That's the good news. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mac. I appreciate that very gracious welcome from the Board of Trustees. And for those of you who are new to our college, and I know that we have a number of new employees on here, our Board of Trustees is very engaged in the college, very tuned in and plugged in, and they offer tremendous support. And so does our foundation board, as they provide a lot of support for students and for the institution. So we appreciate members of those two boards being with us today. At this time, with this being the start of the new year, we obviously have some new faculty and staff, and I'd like to ask our vice presidents to introduce those. First, I'd like to call on our Vice President for Administrative Services, Daffy Garris.
Good morning, everyone. I am extremely excited about some new employees we have. I'm also dying to say hello to all of you. So it's great to see your faces, even if it is from a remote location. I've missed you all. Stacy Garnett has just joined us from maintenance. And the great news about Stacy, he came in February and he worked at the zoo before. So you can imagine the amount of work and knowledge he knows about all of plants and groundskeeping, and so that's his expertise, and we're glad he's with us. We also have some great news that some of you remember Matt Dixon, who used to work for our IT staff, and now he's our network administrator, and his specialty is security. We are super fortunate to have him. I have a lot of colleges very envious that we now have someone dedicated to security, and he came in April. We have a young apprentice, Daniel Botchway. We're part of, not only does RCC help with Stacy and Melinda, and they help the administrative part of Apprenticeship Randolph. Well, computer services and administrative services, we're actually an employer. So we're one of the business partners, and I'm happy to say that the first apprentice we've been able to get is Daniel Botchway, and he is an amazing young man, and I hope you all get to meet him. He'll be around campus. He's our computer support specialist apprentice, and he came in June. And the final person to introduce is Candace Turner. We just hired Candace, and she is an accountant for us. She came just this month. Actually just this week, and the reason we're beyond excited to get her is she has over 10 years in business office experience, and she is a colleague guru. So those are the specialties of the folks that we've just hired, and super excited they've joined the family.
Thank you, Daffy, and welcome to our new employees in the Administrative Services Department. We're very glad to welcome you to our campus. Now I'd like to call on our Vice President for Workforce Development and Continuing Education, Mr. Elbert Lassiter.
Thank you, Dr. Shackleford. I have an opportunity to introduce our Small Business Center Director. Quentin, if you're on a call, say hello so everyone can see you.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you. All right. Quentin comes to us from the Regional Partnership Workforce Development Board. where he served as a business engagement coordinator, and we're excited to have Quentin with us. He possesses an MBA, and we're looking forward to all the things that he's going to do with us, for us, as a small business center director. He and his wife, Sherry, they live in Asheboro, North Carolina. They have 2 children, and his son is a student here at Randolph Community College. So welcome, Quentin.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shackleford.
Thank you, Albert. And Quentin, welcome. We're glad to have you in our Small Business Center, and you'll be a great asset to the college. At this time, I would like to ask Vice President for Instructional Services, Suzanne Rohrbaugh, to introduce her new people.
Hey everybody, good morning. I just want to reiterate, I have really missed everybody. And it is really good, even if it is virtual. It's just nice to see faces, and always enjoy this time of the year where we get a fresh start, new group of students, and welcome to all the new employees, but welcome back to the ones that have kind of weathered the past storm with us as we continue to move into fall. But we've got some great new employees in instruction. I'm going to start with Akeem McAllister. Akeem, I see you on my screen. So if you would wave for others, or yeah, we are so excited to get Akeem. He is our new biology instructor. And he comes to us, teaching experience from Johnston Community College, Wake Tech, so our sister community colleges. He was also a graduate assistant at North Carolina Central, so he does have some teaching experience in the biological sciences. His education, he holds an MS degree in biological sciences and biomedical sciences. And his undergrad was actually at Elizabeth City State University in Elizabeth City. So we are thrilled to have Akeem with us. And like many of our new employees, he is brand new and just started 3 days ago. But I have all the confidence he's going to be ready for classes come Monday morning. I know you will be. So thank you, Akeem. And then we have 2 other new employees that joined us in the machining area. First, I'd like to introduce to you Todd Lamar. Todd has actually been an adjunct instructor with us for quite a while, but Todd actually earned his machining degree here at RCC, and he had, I think, about 19 years of experience with Tyco. And then he, in his entrepreneurial experience, not only did he have a machining degree, but he had electrical systems. And he flipped houses. He bought, fixed them up, and flipped houses. But then he recently found his way back and is now a full-time machining instructor with us. So he too is going to be ready to step in Monday morning. They've been very hard at work. And then lastly, I'd like to introduce to you Jamie Trogdon. Jamie too has been an adjunct instructor with us in machining. Jamie is going to be assuming the role of department head for machining, and I'm going to let that settle for a minute because I'm not sure how many folks know that we have someone that's going to be departing, and while we are going to miss that person tremendously, we're excited to have Jamie. Jamie is actually a veteran. He served in the U.S. Air Force and also served post-Desert Storm in the Middle East. So Jamie, thank you for your service. But he also has a lot of business and industry experience. One of our local employers, Timken, he was employed there for 19 years. And he's also worked for Guilford County Schools, again, being an adjunct instructor for us. But most recently, he comes from the Guilford Apprenticeship Program. So he is extremely familiar with a lot of the initiatives and things that are going on in that area. So we are extremely excited. So thank you. Welcome all new employees. Hope everybody has a great year.
Thank you so much, Suzanne. And I want to welcome all of our new faculty members in our Instructional Services Division. We're very happy to have you here and looking forward to getting to know each of you. And Finally, I want to call on Chad Williams, our Vice President for Student Services, to introduce his new staff.
Good morning, everybody. It's good to see everybody as I scroll through and see all of your faces, and hope all is going well today, and I miss you all. So two employees I'd like to introduce to you. One, for those who have been here for a while, is not a unfamiliar face at all. It's Miss Tiffany Ingram, who has been with us since she was a student. She worked as a work study in both financial aid and marketing while she was a student here. And then once she graduated, we were fortunate enough to hire her full-time in the Welcome Center and financial aid office. And while she was working in those positions, she was also working on her bachelor's at East Carolina. And once she finished that degree, we were fortunate enough to hire in additional positions in financial aid. So she's continued to grow in our office area. One of the unfortunate things was she decided to leave us for a short amount of time, but then we were fortunate enough to bring her back. So we've got her back on staff full time and a part of our RCC family again, and we're excited to have her. Our other new employee is Miss Libby Patrick, who the last 4 years has been at Mitchell Community College. And in July, we hired her as a student services counselor. And Libby earned her bachelor's degree from Southern Connecticut in 2014, obtained her master's degree from Springfield College in 2016, focusing on student personnel administration. And then during the peak of our registration activities that have been going on through the summer, she joined our team, and we're just so very excited to have Libby Patrick as part of RCC, and look forward to all the great things we know she's going to do. So those are the two new employees in student services, and so good to see all of you.
Thank you very much, Chad, and welcome to Libby and Tiffany. I was just thinking as you were, a couple of things when you were talking, I'm afraid to get started on here, but I remember so many of you that are on the screen. I remember when you were here as students. For example, Tiffany, I remember when she was here as a student, and Kirsten and Kathy Akins and Melanie, and so many of you were here as students, and now you're working here. And when you talked about Tiffany leaving for a time and coming back, I would say that RCC probably has about the highest rate in the state of people who leave who come back. They go somewhere else and they say, uh-oh, it was pretty good at RCC. We have a lot of people who have left and come back. I won't go in, I won't point all of you out, but we're so glad to have you back. I know we had one that left. Friday was her last day here. She started a new job Monday and Tuesday. She's on the phone, can I come home, and was crying. So we're pleased to have all of our new people. We're glad to have people back. We're glad to have former students who are working with us. And thank you so much, Vice Presidents, for introducing your new faculty and staff. Welcome to the RCC family. And you may think that's a cliche, but you won't be here very long before you realize just exactly how true that is. So welcome. In my presentation this morning, I want to, first of all, just share with you the presidential initiatives for the coming year. And let me say a word about that. That is, this is not the total sum of everything we're going to be doing this year. This is not all of our goals and priorities, but each year I pick out one presidential initiative around each of our 5 core values. And you will see that coming up in a minute, that there'll be one initiative under each of the core values. Well, in thinking about these presidential initiatives this year, it really was weighing heavy on my mind that these are not ordinary times, and that the initiatives don't need to just be business as usual. The initiatives need to address the times in which we're living. And these initiatives, 5, one built around each of our core values, are designed to help move the college forward in a significant way this coming year around our 5 core values. And again, they specifically address the times in which we live. And so I've shared these with our board of trustees, and they are supportive and enthusiastic about it. Our senior leadership team is, and I'm very happy to share with you today my presidential initiatives for 2021. The first initiative is around the core value of community. And that initiative is, community is one of our 5 core values. So the initiative around community is to be a front and center change agent to help Randolph County rebound from the economic and workforce devastation caused by the coronavirus pandemic. So what I'm saying here is that we realize that the state and our community has taken a devastating economic and workforce hit. And so as the community college, we have the opportunity to be a change agent and help get our county back on its feet economically and help people get back into the workforce. And so what we want to do, my initiative for the community this year, is to be that front and center change agent. The kind of things, and these are just examples, the kind of things that we will think about doing is to employ our small business centers resources. You met Quentin Louris a few moments ago. The small business center is going to be very important in this initiative because a lot of the economic and workforce hit in our community has been in small businesses. And so the opportunity for our small business center to work with helping small businesses get back on their feet and get their workforce back and get their economy stable under their feet again will be vital to this initiative. Update the website to better keep the community and prospective students apprised of the opportunities available at RCC. Our marketing department does a great job putting out press releases and notifications about things we have at RCC, but there's still a lot of people out there in the community who are not fully aware of all that we have to offer. And we're in a major overhaul right now of our website to help keep the community more aware of what we have. It used to be that people got their information from newspapers, radio, and billboards. Well, more people are on websites and internet now, and we want to really have a popping website that keeps our community well informed. Utilize community input. Now, I can't emphasize that enough. To identify new emerging training educational needs in response to COVID-19. I don't imagine for a moment that our businesses and industries are going to tell us, well, just pick up and do what you were doing before. I think they're going to have some interesting new priorities after this COVID crisis has passed. There are going to be new jobs that didn't even exist. There are going to be some jobs that may not be as much a priority. There are going to be some new training needs. They're going to have to learn how to do some things differently. We've all been doing things differently during the pandemic, and now it's going to become a part of the workplace. And so when I say community input, we're going to be asking our advisory committees. I want to ask each of you, when you meet with your advisory committees, don't just talk to them, listen to them and ask them, what is it you need from us in training now that is different than you needed from us before? Do we need to alter our curriculum? Do we need to include new skills? Do we need to include skills about online Zoom meetings and that kind of thing? New marketing strategies. How can we help you? So we're going to have the community input. We're going to ask the community, how can we help you now in ways that weren't as important before? What has changed during COVID? I have a meeting every fall and every spring with a group of community leaders, and that's coming up in September. And I will be asking a room full of people up at AVS, tell us how we can help you in your business or your industry after COVID-19. What do you need? So all of this comes under that community initiative of be a front and center change agent to help Randolph County rebound from the economic and workforce devastation caused by the coronavirus pandemic. Our second core value is employees. Community is one, employees is another. And under employees, the initiative is find and utilize the right balance of on-site and telecommuting faculty and staff responsibilities as we slowly emerge from the coronavirus pandemic, exercising the appropriate flexibility without compromising the mission and operations of the college. What I'm saying here is, in the last 6 months, 8 months, we've been learning to do things a lot differently. We've learned how to do some things from home. We've learned how to do some things online. We've learned how to do a lot of things in ways that we never thought we would have to know to this extent. Well, when we come back, what does that mean? How can we maximize telecommuting and on-site responsibilities for faculty and staff? So what I mean by that, here are some examples. Next, Kelly. Survey faculty and staff to identify any obstacles to productivity that we can improve. What has worked during this time of being at home? What has been difficult? What could work better? What doesn't work like that? What are things that need to be done here with us face to face? And what things can you continue to do by telecommuting? We're going to be surveying faculty and staff to get a feel of what this experience has been like for you the last 6 or 7 months. Another thing is to collect, analyze, and evaluate data to determine best practices for delivering instruction and support services. Virtual, face-to-face, blended to students. In other words, we're going to find out not just from our faculty and staff, but data from all over the state and all over the country. What really works in this new environment and what needs to be improved. So we're going to get data from you. We're going to collect, analyze, and evaluate other data and find out what are the things that work well face-to-face, what are the things that work well virtually, and what are the things that work well blended. Institute a telecommuting policy with clear guidelines for work schedules that are clear, equitable, and appropriate. What that means is we will be examining all of this, and while we've been on a very altered, unique schedule the past several months, what will our schedule look like going forward? Well, we want it to be clear, we want it to be equitable, we want it to be appropriate. So this is for employees. We're going to try to help you maximize your effectiveness and help you do the things that you do best in the ways that you do it. Our third core value is quality education. By the way, you may say quality education, shouldn't that be first? This is an alphabetical order. That's also why students are last. So just to remind you of that. Quality education. Take online instruction from good to great, employing the latest technology, the best technology, the latest innovations, and ongoing professional development. Here's what's happening. This pandemic, it seems like such an interruption to what we were doing, but in a way, it's an accelerator. It has made us do some things that we were going to eventually do anyway. We've had to do it sooner than we had anticipated. And one of those things is more technology-based instruction, more online instruction. And so if we're going to be doing more online instruction in the future, and if this is kind of a sense of where the future is going, how can we go from good to great? Now, here's what I'm saying. This past March, when we went to online instruction, our faculty and staff and our online education department, our distance ed department, did a fantastic job of making that transition. I just can't thank you enough for the way you stepped up to an emergency and you kept our students engaged and you got involved. Some of you had never taught online classes before and you learned how. Some of the students never taken online classes before and you nurtured them through it. Now, if that's going to be kind of a taste of the future, not altogether online, but if that's going to be a taste of the future, how can we learn to do it even better? Good to great. We're going to create professional development opportunities for faculty and address gaps with online instruction and the delivery of services. So if you are a good online instructor now, we're going to have professional development help you become a great one. If you're a great one now, we're going to have professional development help you become wow. And so it's to create professional development to make online instruction something that's more engaging and more effective for our students and more comfortable for our faculty. Explore, identify, and implement ways to enhance innovative technology-enabled student-centric approaches to instruction. So we're going to get the best practices from schools, from the literature, from other colleges, from our own experiences. We're going to explore and we're going to find out, are there some things we haven't thought of? Are there some things we can do better that would really add some pop to our online instruction? And then use CARES grant funding to pay for specialized virtual training of our faculty to learn new skills and educational delivery methods. We have some federal money to help, CARES grant money. We have some funds to help us advance what we're doing in response to COVID-19. And we think that creating improved, specialized virtual training opportunities for our faculty is a good way to invest that money. So in quality education, if we're going to have more online instruction in the future, which we would have done anyway, but we're there quicker than we anticipated, we're going to become the best at it anywhere. We want to be a leader in the state, and that our students don't feel like they're getting anything second rate. They're not on plan B. Our online instruction is engaging and dynamic, and they're getting quality education through that. Our fourth core value is radical hospitality. And in that, I want us to take specific actions to create a campus environment even more characterized by diversity, equity, and inclusion. You know all about the social unrest in our country in recent months. It's not just the social unrest that we're responding to, it's the whole foundation of our nation. And as Martin Luther King said in his famous speech on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, he said, our forefathers wrote a check. That check was that all men are created equal. He said, but that check is bounced. We're not there yet. And it's time that we be there. And so there is in our country still a deep undertow of not accepting diversity, not accepting equity, not accepting inclusion. And we need to be past that. It's 2020. That Declaration of Independence was in 1776. All men are created equal. In 1863, the Emancipation Proclamation, the slaves shall be free. In 1964, the Civil Rights Act. And still, we have a long way to go. So under radical hospitality, how can we be radically hospitable any better than to create a campus of diversity, equity, and inclusion? Develop a cultural diversity lecture series for the college and community. There are a lot of things we don't understand about people who are different than us, and it would be great to have an opportunity to hear from some of those people. A second action under this is to reinvigorate the minority male mentoring program. Minority males are the most at-risk population of our campus and campuses all over the country. And so we want to make a special initiative to try to engage and mentor our minority males so that they can have those new opportunities and change lives for a better future. Offer more professional development opportunities for faculty and staff specifically related to diversity, equity, and inclusion. We need to include that in professional development for all of us. You know, sometimes we see these professional development opportunities and we think that they're for other people. It's like if you offer a professional development session on customer service, the people who come are the people who need it the least, and the people that we wish would be there are the ones that don't think they need it. Well, we all need professional development on diversity, equity, and inclusion. We have a long way to go in our community and in our own lives and in our nation, and we're going to offer more professional development on how can we make everybody feel welcome at RCC. Revise BLAT curriculum to include more updated diversity and de-escalation training for local law enforcement. This is something we've already begun to do. The state has some initiatives. The police departments and the sheriff's department have some initiatives. And we are just including some more modules into our BLE training to deal with things like diversity and de-escalation of confrontational situations. And so one of the things that's a part of what's going on in our country is just to teach all of our law enforcement about the forces they're dealing with out there in the street and how to deal with them more professionally and in a more sensitive manner. Develop strategies to evaluate the content of courses to ensure diversity and inclusion within the material and resources utilized for instruction, making changes accordingly. What this means is putting diversity on campus does not just mean, well, let's start teaching an African-American history class. Anybody wants to take that can do it, and therefore we're diverse. What it means is, let's look at all of our curriculum. For example, in our history classes, let's include Latina and African-American and Asian Americans who've had a big part. For example, the number of African-American inventors who've had a profound impact on our nation have rarely been mentioned in history course. Content in art and music and literature. It's not just the Edgar Allan Poe's and the Robert Frosts and the Mark Twains that we can be reading. There's some great diverse authors. So it's to create a more diverse and inclusive curriculum. All of these things together are designed to create a campus environment more characterized by diversity, equity, and inclusion. What it simply means is, I hope that RCC will be one place that anyone, whether they're mainstream or off this way or off that way, whoever they are, whatever their background, wherever they come from, that they will feel included here. And we're going to take them where they are and try to help them have a great opportunity to move forward. So that's number 4. Our 5th core value is student success. And in that, we want to support our students' academic success and assist with personal obstacles that hinder their success by utilizing proactive intercession, including both on-site and online student support services. There was a time when if a student needed help, they just need to go to student services and they need to go see a counselor, they need to check in. And now we realize that we have more tools, online tools, and we can offer more support than just for those who are able to get through the front doors. And so what kind of support? Now, when I say with personal obstacles, most of the factors we deal with students on our campus are not academic. Some are, but most are mental health issues, life issues, and other things like that, financial issues, childcare issues, transportation issues. And so we want to help our students succeed. We want to help assist with these obstacles that hinder their success and be proactive in interceding and helping those students. Such things as integrate a VISO software and the lessons learned from our experience in the grant to better enable tracking at-risk students and interceding on their behalf. A VISO was a software that was used during a grant we've been under the last few years that has helped us to hire coaches and to track students and to intercede with the students who are most at risk, who are struggling, whose attendance or grades are not doing well. And it's been very successful. And now we want to integrate a VISO software and what we've learned from that grant to help all of our at-risk students on the campus. A second step that we'll do under that is to institute the coaching model across all instructional divisions, including both credit and non-credit, to provide personalized guidance and coaching for students. Our coach, we have 2 kinds of coaches on our campus. We have career coaches who are in the high schools working with students to figure out what they want to be and how to get there and what courses at RCC will move them in that direction. And we also have success coaches here on our campus who go and intervene with at-risk students and help to encourage them and get them on the right path. The coaching model has been, at least the initial data shows it has been extremely productive and helpful, and we want to institute the coaching model across all instructional divisions. Implement a student assistance program. Many of you know that we have an EAP, an employee assistance program, where you can go see a counselor and the college already pays for it and it's confidential and all of that. You can get any help you need for problems. But we also are going to implement a student assistance program. It's an extension of the student services we provide on campus, and it will provide help for students, not just in grades and classes, but with life issues. That's going to be a huge asset. And then create a holistic support network that combines technology and programming community services to connect students with comprehensive resources. What this means is there are a lot of our students who are struggling with problems, that there's some help out there in the community. We have a lot of nonprofits and a lot of helping agencies, and the students, none of us could name all of them. They can't navigate that roadmap. There's help in the community and they don't even know it. And so what we're going to do is try to create a holistic support network that will connect students with the supporting agencies and the helping professionals who can assist them with the problems they're dealing with. So all of this is to support our students' academic success by helping them with personal life obstacles and issues that they're dealing with. So these are just some examples of what we'll do for student success. So what I'm getting at in summary is that under community, we want to be a change agent to help Randolph County rebound from the pandemic. Under employees, we want to utilize the right balance of on-site and telecommuting responsibilities. Under quality education, we want to take online instruction from good to great. Under radical hospitality, we want to create a campus environment even more diverse, equitable, and inclusive. And under student success, we want to support students utilizing proactive intercession with both on-site and online student support services. It's my firm conviction that if we do these 5 things this year while we're going about our other responsibilities, if we make a focused effort to accomplish these 5 things as a college, it will move us a huge step forward and it will help us address the issues of our times. So those are the initiatives, and I hope that, and Kelly, I think they will be getting a copy of these. So.
Yes, sir. I'll be sending an email out with a link to that presentation as well as Dr. Shackleford's wrap-up report for the last 3 years of initiatives. And today's meeting was recorded. So as soon as we can get that loaded up on YouTube, I'll send those 2 presentations and that link out.
Thank you. I want to conclude with some remarks that to kind of get us in the mindset for this coming year. For those of you who are new to our campus, and again, we welcome each of you, and for those of you who are returning, RCC is not the typical college. We're not job focused. Most of our people don't just say, well, I've got a job down in Asheboro at RCC and I go clock in, and I put in my time and teach my classes and I clock out and I go home and I draw a check and I call it a career. That's how a lot of colleges are. Frankly, I've been to colleges where it seems like their mission was line them up, sign them up, get a check, and good luck. That's not RCC. That is not RCC. We're not job focused, we're mission focused. And our mission is to create opportunities and to change lives. Our opportunity is to meet students where they are and take them as far as they can possibly go. And so you're a part of something great here at this college. If you think you're not, talk to all those people I was talking about who went somewhere else and came back. They'll tell you we're not the typical college. We are very mission focused. And I want to talk to you about that a few minutes this morning as we get ready for this coming new year. There's a quote by President John F. Kennedy that I really like. It says one person can make a difference and everyone should try. Now think about that just a moment. One person can make a difference and everyone should try. Each of you are going to have opportunities this year to make a difference. That's our mission. I didn't say you're going to have an opportunity to punch a clock. You're going to have an opportunity to make a difference. Sometimes one person can make a difference, profound difference. Let me tell you about a friend of mine named John, true story. A very close friend of mine named John. And when he was a young man, by the way, his last name is Skagilski. His family were Polish Catholic immigrants. And when they came to America, it was their hope that their son would be a priest. They encouraged him all of his life to go off to the seminary and become a priest. Well, things didn't go exactly as he planned. He was obedient to his family. His family was very close. He was obedient to his family, and he went off to the seminary, and he was studying to be a priest. But while there, somewhat to his, somewhat unexpectedly, he came to realize that he was gay. He had to resign from the seminary. It was not accepted. And he went home. You would think that he would have found acceptance at home when he went home. His mother had 11 brothers and sisters. His father had 12 brothers and sisters. So his two parents and their 23 siblings were all a very tight-knit community up in the Northeast in their Polish Catholic immigrant community. Unfortunately, when he told them what was going on, they could not accept it. His father said, "I've told all my friends, I've told our church, I've told my neighborhood, everyone knows that you're all studying to be a priest. How embarrassing." They're going to ask what happened. How can I explain this? We cannot accept this. You know we don't believe this. Well, unfortunately, not only did his father say that, but his mother said that, and his uncle, and his uncle, and his aunt, and his aunt, and his aunt, and his uncle, and his uncle. In fact, of his parents and their 23 siblings, only one person embraced John and said, "John, I love you. I love who you are, and I'll support you, and I'll love you to the end." She brought him back to the community, provided a place for him to live, gave him a car and gave him $1,000, and said, "I'll always support you." That was his Aunt Lottie. One of the 25, one said, "We'll embrace you." She said, "I'll embrace you and I'll support you." I asked John, what was it about Lottie that made her so different than all the other 24 siblings? And he said, "Well, that was an interesting question. And the only way I know to answer it is it was the gift of her heart. The gift of her heart." In fact, we know it was a gift of her heart because she ended up taking care of a younger brother who struggled with alcoholism and cared for him until he died. And then in later years, took care of two elderly brothers who were very aged and became demented and were unable to care for themselves. And she cared for them until they died. She was the only one of the siblings. It was the gift of her heart. And by the way, well, what difference did that make in John's life? Well, he goes by the nickname Ski, S-K-I, because his name is Skagilski. Nobody calls him John. Everybody in the country calls him Ski. And I say in the country because he is well known all over the community college system. He is now the president of HAC, the Harrisburg Area Community College system in central Pennsylvania. He is over the community college system in Harrisburg, Lancaster, Hershey, Gettysburg. He is president of the largest community college in all of Pennsylvania. He is one of the most enthusiastic, passionate, student-caring, giving presidents I know. And every time I go to a national meeting, I always make a point. Ski and I always sit down and have a visit. Aunt Lottie turned his life around. One person can make a difference, said Kennedy, and everyone should try. But it's not just in other places in the country. I've seen it here at RCC. I saw Dahlia, when she finished her GED program, keep coming to class and tutoring her classmates who hadn't finished yet. And then when some couldn't come to graduation because they couldn't afford the cap and gown, she bought the cap and gown. And she now works for us. It's a gift of her heart. Our dear friend Wayman Martin, who passed away a few months ago. I've seen Wayman take up student after student, and I called him into my office when I had a mother and her son here, and her son and his older brother had planned to start a business together, but his older brother became inflicted with that disease where you begin to grow rapidly, and he grew so rapidly over a 6-month period his heart couldn't keep up and he died. And the younger brother with whom he was going to go into business was crushed and said, I don't want to go back to school. I don't want to go to work. I don't want to go to business. I don't want to do anything. I just want to die. And he and his mother sat in here weeping. And I got on the phone and called Wayman, and he came to the office, and I told him the story. I said, Wayman, can you help this young man? And he took him under his wing, and he nurtured him all the way through graduation. And his mother still to this day thanks RCC and Wayman Martin for being that one person that made a difference. Just this past week, I got a message from someone saying my son was having a hard time and his payment didn't go through for some reason and it wasn't enough money and he got all his classes dropped. But some sweet lady in the business office helped get everything worked out. And I just want to thank her. And the question was asked, well, who was it? I said, well, I think her name was Eva. Said she was very sweet and very helpful and everything is worked out. It was just a gift of her heart. Some years ago, we had a student named April who was having a terrible time. While in school here, her husband threw her out. She was homeless. She lived in her car for a while. Finally, her father let her come live with him in his trailer, but she was so obese that she had to sleep on the floor in the living room. As it came close to time for graduation, she went into student services and went down to see Rose Chilson and said, Miss Rose, if I don't come to graduation, can I still get my degree? And Rose said, well, why in the world wouldn't you come to graduation? And she pointed to her girth and her obesity. And she said, well, caps and gowns and graduation ceremonies are for those other people. They're not for people like me. That broke Rose's heart. And even though the deadline had passed, she got on the phone and called the cap and gown company, ordered the largest robe they had. When it came, she called April in and was so excited to open the box and show it to her. But to their dismay, even it did not fit. Rose couldn't give up. The gift of her heart said, we've got to help April get to graduation. She went up to CCR and got a gown and took that gown and the gown she had ordered from the cap and gown company, and Shelley Green took them home and altered them and sewed them together and made a gown that perfectly fit April. And when April, who thought that graduation wasn't for people like her, walked across that stage, Rose cried out like a family member and cheered her on and wept like a baby. It was the gift of her heart. One person can make a difference, and everyone should try. I've told you a number of times about Dr. Helen Kennedy, who encouraged me to go back and get my doctorate. She said, "I want you to go back and get your doctorate, and I'll buy every textbook that you have to buy along the way." She supported me and encouraged me, and I thought I was special. I thought, well, here she's helping. But come to find out, she had done that for 10 students through her career. She was never married, never had children. So what she did was she adopted students along the way and said, "I'm going to help you get through and get your doctorate, and I'm going to support you, and I'm going to encourage you, and I'm going to buy your textbooks." And I know of at least 10 people that she did that with. I thought it was just me. No, it was 10 of them. One of them was Rachel Fessmeyer, who ended up being one of the initial pioneers of the Head Start program in North Carolina and the Smart Start program in North Carolina, and was the CEO of the Greater Children's Services of Greensboro. It included Sharon Decker, who was one of her students. Sharon Decker ended up being a high-ranking authority with Duke Energy and became the Secretary of Commerce under Governor McCrory. These were people that she took under her wing and nurtured along and made a difference in their lives. We have a lot of students who are coming to us this fall, whether virtually or face-to-face, who are caught in a current and they're being swept downstream. Some of them are facing family issues, abuse. Some are just coming off of divorces, violence. Some are struggling with mental illness, addiction, alcoholism, emotional imbalance. Some are struggling with physical illness and diseases and are undergoing treatments. Some have children or elderly parents they're dealing with that they're having struggles with. We have people who are coming to us that are like people being swept down a stream by these wild, rapid currents. One person can make a difference. One person can throw out a lifeline and help change the trajectory of that student's life. You can be that one person. While you're teaching your classes and your desk doing your job this year, I hope that by the end of the year, you can look back and say, yes, I had interaction with a lot of faculty and a lot of staff and a lot of community members, and I had interaction with a lot of students. But there's one that I think I was that one person for. There's one that I gave the gift of my heart to, and I changed the trajectory of their lives. I think you can be that one person. And if each of us will be that one person for some of our students, it will not just be a motto. Our year will be spent creating opportunities and changing lives. And how can that happen? Not because of something coming out of my office, not because somebody else down the hall paid extra attention. Creating opportunities and changing lives will happen when you and I share the gift of our hearts this year. Again, welcome to Convocation. Welcome to RCC. Welcome to a great new school year. Give the best you can and be that lifeline to some of the students around you. Thank you. I appreciate all that you do. And God bless you as you become that one person in somebody's life.
Thank you, Dr. Shackleford. That was very inspiring.